Okay, everybody, let's get this party started. Happy to see you. I see there's a bunch of people who've joined already. Um, I wanted to give this gift to those of you who, mostly know me from my written work. I have done this over on YouTube a couple of times and it's great, but I figured we'd be a smaller group, right? Since this is for paid subscribers to ask questions. So by definition, because it's paid, it's going to be a smaller group, which my theory is that means you can stand a better chance of actually getting a question answered. So my voice is a little weird today. I don't know why. I have water, so that's good. I'm planning on going for an hour. If there are a ton of you here, I could theoretically maybe go a little longer. We'll see. What I will do is I'm just using Lenormand today. I'm not using tarot the way that I use tarot in my written work. What I'll do is I will look at the questions. As I mentioned, you can ask anything um, personal or political or cultural or anything. If I think that my cards cannot answer your question, I will skip it. But if I think I can um, sort of re-ask the question in a different way, I'll try to reframe the question so that the cards can answer that. And I'm just going to go down the line. So I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. Okay. And I have my reading glasses on so that I can see the feed, which is good. And Sandra, you are up first. Greetings, Erika. My sisters and I are placing another sister in memory care. We think it's a good placement. I'd like to know what our mother, who's just 18 months transitioned, wants us to know about how we've managed the situation. I mean, I can ask your mother what she thinks. So that's called a mediumship reading, and I do that through the cards. And the card that I'm going to look for will be the bear, because that is the card for mother. Okay, and let's see. I guess I don't. It looks like it'll show everything. Okay. Some platforms don't show the whole screen when I tilt the thing down, so you can't really watch. But hopefully, you'll be able to see. All right. So I'm looking for the bear, and that will stand for your mother, Sandra. See, you know, I the the one time that I don't check the bottom of the deck and I flip through all the cards. I always check the bottom of the deck first. Here I didn't, but there's the card. It's the bottom of the deck. So what's interesting is that because it appears in the bottom of the deck, I can't put it as the central card. It's the last card, but something will be central. So I'm just going to show you. So that's the last card. Okay. So we have the fish, we have the young woman, we have the tower, the clover, and the bear. Really interesting. Our loved ones are just a thought away. People talk about the veil. There's not even a veil. It's a veil to us because we can't see them, but really, it's not really a veil. Um, it's an emotional decision. She understands that. She's hoping it's not a financial burden. Um, this is the sister whom you're putting in memory care because, of course, to your mother, she will always be one of your mother's babies. So I think that's very sweet. What's central is really interesting to me because it wasn't the bear, right? What's central is the tower. That stands for the actual placement, the memory care place that you're putting her in. And it's followed by the clover. I think she will be very happy there, according to your mother. So your mother thinks this was a good decision. I love the way that came out. So perfect. Okay. Um, Listen, if you have a question, don't don't spend your time saying hi to me. I mean, I love that you say hi, thank you, but just ask the question because, then we can get right into it. All right. Cynthia, I'm talking to you because you say, I have a question. Well, girl, if you have a question, ask me the question. Okay. I'm going to go down, but I will look for you, Cynthia, in the feed later. Okay. Okay. Donna Thomas, let me remind you that I am neither a doctor, nor am I a lawyer, nor am I a bookie. So this is a doctor kind of question, but I mean, I will look. Donna Thomas is asking, will my daughter's ear issue, and I'm gathering that you skipped a word, will it resolve without surgery? Will my daughter's ear issue resolve without surgery? So I'm just going to pull 3 cards for that and see. Okay. So here's what I want to say. I want to say kind of a couple of things. Um, her ear issue will be solved, but I think not without surgery. The reason is that it feels like it's like a recurring thing. And that's why the message has been that surgery would be the answer. So to make sure I was right, I pulled some clarifiers on the ring. And so here's this recurring issue. Whatever it is, I don't know if it's a hearing thing or an infection thing, but it feels like it's something that recurs. And so without the surgery, we have clouds, anchor, and tree. And these all just feel like it doesn't go away without the surgery. So, um, again, I am not a doctor, but if the doctors are um, advising surgery, I think they know what they're talking about. So I would take them up on that to resolve the issue once and for all. Because I think with the surgery, it will be, in fact, resolved once and for all. Okay. Sandra Fuller. I'll be 68 in September and planning to retire at age 70. I've worked hard to pay off all my debt and I'm just growing my savings for retirement now. Do you see a possibility that I will be financially able to retire a little earlier? All right. There is a card for retirement and it's the lily. So I will look for the lily and see what's around it. Okay. Oh, and it's the first card. Good. That means it's the first card. But what it also means is it's not the central card. So let's see what we get. So there it is, the first card. Okay. So we have the lily, the ring, the heart, the young man, and the cross. So this is retirement. And I'm going to say that the cards are suggesting that, they know that you want to retire early. This is the central card. This is something that you really want to do for any number of reasons. I mean, I've been retired for a while now, so I totally get that. But they're saying that you should hang in there until you're 70, as hard as it is. Just stay on the grind for a little bit longer, and do it with, this kind of attitude, which is that, he's got his chin up in the air and he can he can create whatever he wants for his life, right? But what is that saying? We do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. And this is suggesting that you should work until you're 70. Now, why else am I saying that? Because you have the cross at the end and it mirrors the lily. So it feels like you should make the sacrifice to work that extra year and retire as originally planned at 70. Okay. Sorry about that. As somebody who retired at what, 64 or something, um, you know, I get it. I know you want to do it, but we do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. Okay. Um, Yoga Sue, girlfriend, will my daughter and two grandsons ever leave your house? Do they know where the door is? Because you could certainly show it to them. You're in charge of that. This is why I'm not going to answer that question. People will ask questions like, "Should I do this and that?" Well, no. I mean, you're the painter of the canvas of your life. Yoga Sue, if your daughter and grandsons are in your house and clearly you want them to leave, will they ever leave? Then give them a timeline. Put a deadline on it. Come on. You are the boss of this situation, so it's up to you. Uh, what does Henry Ford say? I don't like Henry Ford, right? He was Nazi adjacent and all of that, but he did give us the car, and he gave us this very good saying, which is whether you tell yourself you can or you tell yourself you can't, you're right. Meaning you decide that. Okay. All right. Okay. Jean Marie Gunner, I don't know why you think I'm a doctor too. Girlfriend, should I have what do the doctors say? No, 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 no. Go with your doctor's recommendation. Go. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to answer that. Okay. Um, I I don't know I don't understand that question, so I have to skip it. Okay, Nancy Stark. I'm retired and want I don't know what y'all need to make sure that you're writing in a coherent sentence. But here's what I'm gathering, that you're retired and that you want to stay in your current home. I don't know what the rest of that sentence says, so I'm going to skip that part. Okay. Will you be able to stay in your current home? Okay. So we're going to look for the house that will stand for your current home, and we'll see what we get. Okay. All right. Okay. This stands for the current home that you want to be sure you can stay in. Okay. So I have crossroads. I have the woman that stands for you. I have the house that stands for your current house. I have the fox and I have the bouquet. So what I want to say is that, you know, with a decision like this or a situation like this, you don't want to just kind of put a blindfold on and cross your fingers and hope for the best. There will be choices that you can make about how to make that a reality. Um, Here we have you. The house is in the middle. Now, I can mirror you with the fox. I think that a financial advisor would be really someone that you should talk to about how to structure things so that you can stay. Because I think that that person, this is a good card here. This is an expert in that specific area. I think that person will show you options, things that you can do to make it a reality. Because the bouquet is a gift, and the gift in this case would be you staying in your house. But again, don't just la 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 la. Find an expert, a financial planner who can help look at your situation and give you a plan so that you can stay in your house. But I think if you do that, if you enlist the help of an expert, that you absolutely can stay in your house. Okay. Uh, Cotton Hebert. I'd like to know if you see me getting a job by the end of this month. I've been looking for a job for about a year. All right, so this is a very specific question, and you want to know whether you will get a job within the month, the end of this month. Um, Now, we are already halfway through this month, so we're looking at the next couple of weeks. So the card for job is the card that we just saw. It's the fox. So I'm going to look for the fox and see if you will get a job in that time frame. Okay, so oops, sorry, it's a little low. Looking for the fox. Okay, so this stands for a potential job between now and the end of July. Okay, so we have man, we have mice, we have fox, we have ring, and we have anchor. Now, you're talking about a 2-week time frame. It's a pretty short time frame. I get that you've been looking for a year, but I think the cards are really interesting. Um, it could be a male who puts this offer out to you. Now, you know, the mice, I think I kind of like the mice here. I think I do. So this is exciting, I feel like. In the center, we have the fox. And the reason that I'm choosing to positively interpret the mice is because of the two cards that we have at the end. We have the ring and we have the anchor. So the ring is like a job offer. Um, and the anchor is, believe it or not, another job card in the deck. I use the French card for job, but the Germans will tell you it's the fox. I mean, it's the anchor. So I think it's very interesting that we get the contract card and we get the anchor card. So yes, I do think in 2 weeks you could get something. Now, I will say if the mice are not that those Disney excited mice, then I would say that that the job might be less than you hope for in terms of what it's offering you. But, any port in a storm. So I do think, yes, in the next 2 weeks, he will be offered a job. Uh, all right, Cynthia, I don't need to know all the ins and outs of the story, but I will look at the question. Will your son win his probate case? Okay, will your son win his probate case? Um, I think I'm going to use the tower, and that will stand for court, the case. And we'll see if your son will win his probate case. Okay, so we're looking for the tower. That will stand for court. And then we'll look at what their decision will be. Okay, so that's the court that's going to be making this decision. Oh, Okay. So we have the lily, we have the man, we have the tower, we have the birds, and we have the star. And I pulled a few cards extra, just. So, the lily is the card for um, peace, ease. Um, this can be your son. I think, I don't know whether this is the court, and I don't know whether one judge makes the decision or if a group does, because feels very much like a group. And then we have the star at the end, and the star is a good card. It's about hope, and all of that's great. Now, I will say this about I pulled cards on the tower, which again is the court. We have the anchor, we have the heart, and we have the mountain. Anchor and mountain make me realize that, and probate is like that. Probate is it's a long, drawn out process. And I just feel like that's how it's been, long and drawn out. But then I drew cards on the star because that's hope. And I got the ring, the scales, and I think this is your son. So I do think that he will win. Yes. Uh, because that will be adjudicated as the fair thing. So, yes, I think he will win his probate um, case. And I know it's been a long time coming because that's how probate works. Um, okay. Listen, the reason that I do these is as a thank you because you're paid subscribers. I appreciate that. But people have serious questions that they want answers to. So when I see a question that I feel is unserious, or that my cards can't answer, I'm not going to answer it. Okay. All right, here we go. Tony Smith. My daughter, a Black upper management employee with perfect employee reviews and many accomplishments, has a strong and well documented discrimination case covering 7 counts, ranging from wage theft, sex and race discrimination to record tampering. What are you asking? What's the question? Okay, I have to skip it because I don't know. I don't need the, there's no question. Uh, I see people telling me stories, but they're not asking me questions. Ask the question. There's only 27 of you here, so it should be no issue for you to put your story in the form of a question. Then I can answer it. Okay, here we go, Suzanne. Is this your same thing? Yeah. Okay. Will this event send him towards a doctor and treat? Okay. So you have a son. Your son has abused alcohol. That has caused health problems. And what you're wanting to know is if the health problems will have scared him enough to seek out treatment. I think that's what you're asking, Suzanne. So let's look. I'm gonna use the younger man for your son. I don't know. He might not even be a younger man, but the behavior, of course, would be immature. Right. So we're going to use the young man, and I want to know whether whether he's been scared straight, so to speak, scared to the point where he will seek out treatment. Okay. So we're looking for the young man that will stand for your son. And we want to know what his current thinking is on his health status and whether the latest health scare will be the bottom that he apparently has needed to hit in order to get help. Okay, so this stands for your son. Okay, so we have clouds, we have dog, we have your son, we have the book, and we have the coffin. Now, you know, his thinking is not, linear, we'll say. So he's not thinking, um, coherently as you would think a person would if they got a health scare, a diagnosis, whatever, right? The average sort of rationally thinking person would say, "Oh, I need to get help." But he's not thinking like that. That's just not how he's thinking. Also, um, the dog, this is the card for help. But I will say that he's in the center, right? That I can mirror this help card with the book. So I'm going to say a couple of things. I don't know that he knows how to go about that. And, as his mother, you may be the last person in the world to give that advice to him because he won't hear it. Um, but I think he doesn't know how to go about asking for help because the book is about things we don't know. Now, I can mirror the clouds with the coffin. And I would love to tell you that the coffin is about transformation, but it's probably about depression. Um, the diagnosis or the findings from this health scare may have been depressing to him, which only leads to that spiral. So this is a snapshot in the moment. And so if your expectation is he had this thing happen, and so he's going to, it's like Cher slapped him, snap out of it. That's not how it works. Not with him. Um, everybody in that situation has to find their own bottom. And I don't think that this will be his, unfortunately. I am not saying that he's going to end up there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the diagnosis probably has left him depressed, because that's the card for depression, and also confused, and that he doesn't know how to go about seeking help. Hopefully, when he got the diagnosis, when they had that conversation with him, but I don't know that he will have reached his bottom yet. I'm sorry about that. Hi, Nancy from Cody, Wyoming. Okay. Fabsies asks, will my partner change his relationship with alcohol once and for all? I want you to listen to that question in your head. Like, Fabsy, will my partner change his relationship with alcohol once and for all? I mean, all right. I'm going to use the fox, and I'm going to show you. I'll tell you why when we get to the card, um, and ask that question. You know, when you're with an alcoholic, it's not just you and that person in the relationship, right? It's you and the person, and then their alcoholism. It's like a third party in the relationship. Remember when Diana said were three of us in this marriage, and she was talking about Camilla? Well, here in this situation, there's this third party. So your partner may have all of the desire and the will in the world to change his relationship with alcohol. I think it's very interesting that you call it his relationship with alcohol, because that's literally what it is. And no amount of pleading, begging, cajoling is going to push that third party, which is the alcohol, out the door. So, but I'm going to use the fox. I'll show you why in a second, and we'll see what we can see. It feels very much like a wishful thinking kind of question. And I get it. I understand why. Um, and also you want to avoid saying, will he ever? I mean, ever is a long time. Once and for all is a long time. People go on the wagon, then they fall off the wagon. I mean, you're asking a lot is what I'm saying. This is the card that I'm gonna use. And it's my card for addiction because, I mean, the fox has many costumes, as each Lenormand card does, but this time I'm intending for it to be, your partner and their alcoholism. This fox is swimming in a sea of mushrooms, blissed out, high on his own supply. So this is the card for the addict in my deck. And, and foxes are sneaky, are they not? They're tricky, as are addicts, let me just add. Okay. So the cards that we have are the whip, the mice, the fox, the key, and the mountain. So what I'm going to say is, you know, he is tortured by his relationship with alcohol. Um, it makes him sick because that's the mice. We've got him here in the middle. The last two cards are the key and the mountain. Now, the key would be obviously, um, getting rid of the bottle, getting help, getting treatment. But it's followed by the mountain, which is a block. So will he once and for all? I mean, don't they say once an addict, always an addict? You might be a recovering addict, but you're always an addict. So I don't think, no, that they will one day wake up and say, that's it, never again, no more. That's not going to happen. That's why I also say one day at a time. So your question implies something that is just not real. It's not a thing. It's a one day at a time thing. And I think that there will be many slips, that there may be all the good intentions in the world. There may be treatment involved and all of it, but there will be many slips. And I say that because of the mountain. So I would switch my thinking, this once and for all thing. mm, it's one day at a time. That's what they say. So Nat wants to know, would moving to Colorado be beneficial for your chronic health condition? Okay, so I'm going to use the ship, and that will stand for your move to Colorado. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay. All right, so we're looking for the ship. Okay, so this stands for your possible move to Colorado. Okay, so we have the snake, we have the scales, we have the ship that stands for the move, we have the woman, and we have the fox. Okay. I'm just going to say this, that, you know, no place is a panacea, meaning no place is perfect. And I say that because of the snake and the fox. So the fox has gone backstage, done a costume change real quick, and now stands for, the fact that, Colorado is at an elevation. Um, it gets cold in the winter. And so there can be problems attached to Colorado health-wise that you're not necessarily foreseeing. Now, that said, there probably are a lot of benefits to Colorado. I know they're very healthy there. They lead a very healthy lifestyle, you know, stereotypically, that's what they say about Coloradans. This is the cost-benefit analysis card. So, for example, are you good with the cold weather? Are you good with elevation? I don't know if you're male or female, but, do you have a partner that you need to consult about this? Are they willing to go? But it's really about doing a cost benefit analysis and, um, thinking about the pros and cons and not being confused about, the to the point where you think of, Colorado as, the garden of, um, Eden, you know? Um, so that's the best that I can say to you. There are pros and cons, and if we're talking about your health, the pros and cons involve health. Okay. Okay, somebody just sent me a message saying that they're subscribed, but they can't ask a question. I don't know what to tell you because I'm not the tech person here. I will say that if you are a paid subscriber, you should be able to ask a question here. So, I mean, what can I say? I'm doing the best I can here. Okay, okay. Danielle G. I'm a mom of 2 kids. My daughter's 12, my son is 9. I'm a foundation Black American and seriously thinking about moving out of the country to Mexico. I'm wondering how that move would be for us. Thank you. Let me just say one thing about Mexico. So I follow this person on Substack, and she's done a lot of work on the Epstein stuff. And she has citizenship there. She's I guess, naturalized here or whatever. But anyway, she was able to go to Mexico. And what she discovered is that there's a lot of wonderful things about it, but one thing that she could not say is that they have, um, freedom of the press there. So that's interesting. If you're looking for a place that is, um, friendlier to us, meaning Black people, I don't know, where in the world does one go? I'm not sure it's Mexico, but I'm gonna look at it. Again, it's like the question about Colorado. Mexico is great, but it is not the panacea that people wanna think that it is. No place is the panacea that people think that it is. So let's look at Mexico. So I'm gonna use the ship again, and that will be for a move to Mexico. How would that be for you and your kids? Okay. Alright, so this is for the move to Mexico. Okay, so we have a little bit of a mixed bag, which is interesting. So we have the child, the clouds, the ship, the moon, and the young woman. Okay. So, um, you know, the child card, this stands for your children. Your daughter's 12, your son is 9. Um, I think they will have huge reservations about this move. Uh, we have the ship in the middle. Now, we have the moon, and again, the moon is the card for identity. And then it's followed by this card, and I think this stands for your daughter. So I pulled cards on the last 3 cards, on the ship, on the moon, and on your daughter. So here's the move itself. So here, when I say that the answer is a mixed bag, you'll see why. This is the move to Mexico. We have the scythe, the mice, and the tower. Oh, wait, I think I dropped a card. Hold on. Ugh, okay. Um, there's I mean, apparently, according to the cards, there's a lot of red tape involved in moving there, especially if you're trying to get citizenship. It looks like a lot of red tape. Um, so that's the unpleasant part. That said, however, now we get to the other side. We have the moon, and the clarifiers are clover, star, and garden. I do think that you'd be happy there. I think you would meet people, um, feel better, more hopeful, and happier in Mexico. So, I mean, I guess if you could get through the red tape, it might be good. And then for some reason, they're telling me about your daughter. And we have the key, the birds, and the bear. She would really, I feel like she would really thrive there. You know, your son is young enough and probably malleable enough that he could adapt. But I think for your daughter, she would actually thrive. I just think there's so much red tape. And again, it's not a paradise. It's not a perfect place. There's a lot of crime, which of course there is here too. There's a lot of bribery that goes on, and they don't have freedom of press. So, um, are you exchanging one set of problems for another set of problems? And to top it off, you're a stranger in a strange land. So you become the immigrant, and that's never fun. But that said, if you can get through the red tape, I think you would be happy. I think you would find your people, and I think particularly your daughter would be really happy there. Okay. Uh, Nancy Cooley, I'm spending next weekend at the summer house of my son's mother-in-law. Okay, my son's mother-in-law, got it. Will there be any family dynamics drama I need to be concerned about? Well, do I need cards for that? I would suggest that you remember you're in somebody else's house. I think if you conduct yourself in that way, that things go a lot smoother. You're in somebody else's house. But let's look. Um, if you're a good guest with all that that means, then you can navigate any dynamics. So, let's see, what am I gonna oh, you know what? I think I'll use, hmm, we'll use the house, and that will be the summer house where everybody will be in there. And how will that be? Okay, let's look. Okay, so this stands for that house. Well, like I said, are there not always dynamics? So we have the tree, the mountain, the house, the stork, and the clouds. All right. So what do I want to say about that? So the tree, you know how the tree is normally like the health card, but the tree also always means something else. And the something else that it tends to mean is these kinds of extended families. It's your son's mother-in-law, okay, but yeah, you are family. You are all family. So this is this extended family, and we have this mountain because you are, we'll call it, different branches of this extended family. There are, you know, you each have your ways. Your each branch has their ways of doing things and their ways of communicating and the way they do meals and the way they do, how late people stay up and all of that. Um, and we have the house in the middle. I think to whatever degree there is a sort of misunderstanding or miscommunication or not, I think it will improve. I think it will absolutely improve because we have the stork and I can mirror these two cards. Stork is always the card for improvement. And then we have the tree and it mirrors the clouds. I don't think this is bad, actually. I just think this is about figuring each other out, right? I just think if you remember that you're a guest in this person's house, that will go a long way towards meaning it's not your house, so don't act like it's your meaning be thoughtful. Um, do you know what I'm saying? I just think it's a function of people not necessarily being familiar enough with each other to know the rules of the road. So I pulled some cards. So here's the house: Rider, Moon, and Mice. Um, this if this is about knowing who people are, you don't really necessarily know her that well. That's all that's saying. Um, Now I drew cards on the stork, and we have the birds, the scythe, and the whip. Listen, I feel like your communication styles are going to be different. Like, I don't know, there might be a lot of one or the other of you. I don't know which branch, like talks fast or loud or something like that, I feel like. And so you'll get used to it, but it's the way that the communication goes. It will feel kind of make you off balance because it's not the way you do it. Okay. Then we have clouds and we have a letter, clover, and bear. I just, her house, her rules, and I think it'll be fun. I mean, it's a short visit. She is, I can mirror this bear with the tree. She is, I keep being told to say, this is her house and her rules. So just be a guest. Listen, if it's awkward or weird, just, what I do in those kind of situations? I just say to myself, Erika, remember this so you can take notes on it and write about it later. Or it'll be a good story to tell at a dinner party or something, right? So just be on your best behavior, I guess, is what I'm saying. And I think you'll have fun. I think you'll know more about that branch of the family than you know going in. And that's all to the good because kumbaya, you're all family. So, you know, make it till you make it. All right. Uh, Helen, I hate those kind of questions, but I'm going to answer it for you after I yell at you. What does my higher self want me to know about my life at this time? Girl, what? Why are you asking me that? Like, so much, so much, but I'm going to answer it. So I'll use the older woman for you. I don't know why, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the older woman and I'm asking Spirit, what is your message in this moment for Helen? Spirit has infinite messages for all of us, but that's why we narrow down the questions so they're not quite so broad. But that's okay, Ellen. I'm gonna do you this solid. All right. So we're looking for you in the deck. What message does Spirit have for you? I'm looking for the older woman. You may be younger, but whatever. It's one of the woman cards, and I picked that one. Okay. So this is you. Okay. So we have cross, tree. Here's you, child, and key. To whatever degree you have been in ill health. And I mean, ill health doesn't mean death's door. It just means ill health. Like me, I have a really bad back. I have titanium rods and plates and stuff in my spine. You wouldn't know it because, this is a channel where I sit down. But I have a lot of pain all the time. It's just what I experience. So to whatever degree you have um, physical issues or to deal with, which would be this, um, the cards are saying to you, you're in the middle, that how can I put it? I don't want to sound Pollyanna, which is why I told you that I have the pain that I have. But that perspective is everything. Perspective is everything. I mean, you're not Lindsey Graham lying on a slab, just saying that if you can um, have a new way of of thinking about things. So, for example, what I do is I say, you know, the pain that I experience, um, I make sure that it grows me in my compassion for other people. Granted, some days it's easier said than done, but that's the perspective that I try to take. And the cards are saying that that is the answer, that is the key, that if you, so I've told this story before, I think, where I read for a woman. Oh, and she was lovely. She was, older, and she'd been a therapist her whole life and was a real giver to people. But then she got a certain age and she had to retire, and then her physical health declined, and she came to me and she asked me this question. She goes, "I can't be a therapist anymore, and I have this, that, and the other physical thing. What is my purpose now?" I thought that was a beautiful question. Why? Because it implied that she had purpose, that she knew that she had purpose, that just because she couldn't do what she did before, it didn't mean that she had no um, value, right? And I read cards, and the cards said things like this. They said, well, like, let's say, for example, that you are mute and paralyzed. I mean, can you think of anything worse? Because um, and you've been this woman, and you have cared for people your whole life as a therapist, and now you have to receive, and it's humbling, maybe even humiliating. But you give other people the gift of giving to you, and that is soul growing for them. Of course, you'd rather be the one tending to the person who's mute and can't move. You'd rather not be that person. And you may have been that person earlier in your life. But now, what is your purpose? To be graceful in your inability to move, to be graceful and to be grateful and to be thankful and to be prayerful. There are people who spend their whole lives in a cell praying. Don't they have value? Those lives have value. It puts energy into the world that pushes us towards a better place. So to whatever degree you are experiencing ill health, just know, first of all, we all are going to go that way, right? I mean, everybody. Some people not soon enough, if you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, we're all going that way. How can you walk in grace and in gratitude? Because it is such a gift to be in a body. Is there a cost attached? Well, yes. Every time the weather changes, I feel the cost in my back. Of course, I'm in sunny California, so it's less awful than it was in the Northeast. But still, um, there is a cost attached to being in a body. We lose people we love. We experience pain, sorrow, sadness, but it's the price that we pay for being in a body, which enables us to experience so many amazing, wonderful things. So it's about your perspective. Shift your perspective. Sorry, that was a long answer, but okay. Um, okay. This is for Angel Nelson. My son moved back to Minnesota from Texas last month. He has a GED and has worked retail jobs and as a cook. Will he be able to get a job in the next few months? He's on the spectrum and has ADHD, so this is hard for him. Okay, I'm going to again use the Fox card, and the Fox will be a job. Well, a lot of people who have temporary protective status are being thrown out of the country, thanks to you know who. So a lot of those lower level jobs that a lot of these immigrants do will be undone. So I suspect there will be jobs available. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the best way for a job to become open for him, but I do think that there will be jobs opening up um, because people who are doing those jobs will be deported. Okay, so let's look. We're looking for the fox. Okay, we have the sun, the heart, the fox that stands for job, woman, and dog. Yes, I think he will get a job. It will be in I feel like in the service industry, um, which can mean a lot of different things. Um, if he wants restaurant work, it could be restaurant work, hotel work, etc. But yeah, I think he will get a job since that's the last card. Uh, the sun is great. I think he'll love the job. By the way, um, could be that an older woman will be his boss, or maybe you yourself will have heard about a place where he can look, and he will get the job. But yes, he will get a job, and it'll be in the service industry, I think. Uh, Jean Marie Gunner, what's going on with the White House makeover? The photos released today are shocking. It's exactly what you think. People have asked me to look at this. There's no reason to look at it. He is trying to put his mark like a dog, lift his leg on everything that belongs to the people. This is another example of it. So now he's going to put a fence around everything, which means that we pay for that. And then we'll get to pay for taking it down once this madness ends. But what you see is what is. I mean, that is what's going on. So, uh, yes, I saw there was a news release from Mitch McConnell, proof of life picture that was posted with it. I saw that. They put him in clothes for the occasion. Elaine Chao, his wife, was right there next to him. I still don't think that he will be back on his job. And if he does, it'll be like this. They'll ask him a question and he'll do like this. Remember that? That's what we'll get. So I don't think he'll be any help to the felon in the Senate. I just don't. I think the picture is valid. I think it's legitimate. I mean, I don't wish anyone dead except for one person. um, this is a change of pace. Chris Mode, can you talk for a bit on the significance of the numbering in the Lenormand deck? So yeah, it's just that the cards are numbered 1 through 36. If there are extra cards, then you go higher than the 36. And the only reason there's no numerological significance, I'll just hasten to add that. Um, but I will say that there is a rationale. So there's a spread that uses all 36 cards. It's called the Grand Tableau. I don't do it here because I think the way I read is more efficient. But the Grand Tableau is an amazing spread because it shows you a little bit about each area of your life. So it's very, very comprehensive. And there are different ways of doing it. And if you memorize the cards and the card numbers, it's easier to do a Grand Tableau. Uh, if you have my book, Chris, get my book because I do explain all of that, how the numbers, how memorizing the numbers. I always say it's like in French, you learn le and la with every noun, in Spanish as well. And just think of it as le or la. So you don't just say, oh, anchor. Just when you memorize the cards, 35, anchor. That is very helpful to learn them that way. Again, my book, I talk about it extensively in the book. So, but again, it's nothing numerological. Okay. Um, Good, Roger. I hope you enjoy the deck and the book. Okay. Okay. You have a question. I've been told that I have a gift. Will my intuitive gifts start to develop stronger in due time, especially with using Lenormand and tarot decks? So I'm going to say first off, and I'm not trying to burst your bubble whatsoever. In fact, if anything, I'm trying to strengthen your bubble, which is to say, everyone has a gift. It is our birthright that we are gifted in this way. Everybody who's in a body has a soul. Right? And it's just that we've forgotten how to use it. That's why I do YouTube basically, is to remind you that you are magical. You have you have these abilities. Every single person does. Now, Roger, you have to pick your modality, right? Maybe it is cards. Maybe it's something else. There's lots of different tools out there that you can use. My daughter likes to say to me, "Oh, well, mom, some of us don't need tools." Because she's very psychic, very intuitive. I like I like using tools. I like using cards, just because I like that tangible bridge between this world and the next. And I love the fact that spirit has given us this bridge, made out of earthly things, which is that, ink and wood, ink from flowers, the dye in flowers, and wood, which is what the paper comes from on the card. So I love that bridge. So the question is, will your gift develop? If you develop it, your gift will develop it. Will develop. Henry Ford. If you tell yourself you can, you're right. I mean, that's what I've found. The more that you use your gifts, which means, I think the main thing it means is two things: paying attention, because everything is a sign, and having intention. Um, when I ask a question, why am I not giving the same answer to everybody? Because my intention is that the answer be for that particular person. When I use a card, like the fox has come out a lot today, the fox can be tricky and slimy and conniving. The fox can also be a medical specialist. right? The fox can be a detective. The fox can be a job. So what I do is all I have to do, I don't have to do any hocus pocus. I just set the intention that for the purposes of this question, this is what this card will mean. So if you understand intention and what was the other thing? Intention and I forget the other thing, but anyway, that's what I think. But let me look. Will your will your gift grow? It will grow if you grow it, is the answer. But I'm going to use the moon because the moon is the card for this kind of esoteric work. Yeah. Right. So we're looking for the moon, and it is you and your gift doing this kind of work. You know, I will say, first of all, it's in the bottom of the deck, so there it is. First of all, I will say too that there are a lot of people who do this work in a public sphere, and they're not really interested in teaching you how to do it. They're more interested in dazzling you with what they can do. And I would say beware. And why am I saying beware? Because they're cheating you out of an awareness that you can do this work as well. You know, they'd rather you grease their palms with silver, and they'll say, well, and if you say, how did you know? They'll say, well, it's for me to know and for you to pay me to tell you. That is so not, I don't roll. That's not what I do. So that's why I look like I'm teaching every time I read for somebody. It's because I'm hoping that you open up to your own intuition and your own use of intention. All right. But anyway, the card I was looking for is the moon, and it was the bottom of the deck. So that means it's the last card. So I will pull. Okay. All right. We have the snake, and we have the cross. We have the fox, the rider, and the moon. This just makes me want to say that a lot of times this happens that people find their gift or relearn their gift that they forgot when they came into this incarnation. Um, and then they re-get it. They get reacquainted with it because some tragedy has happened. Like for me, I wasn't thinking about any of this stuff until I became a widow unexpectedly. And then within a year, I was reading Lenormand. So, you know, the tragedies that you've had in your life, because we've all had them, they've all had them, could be the very thing that has led you to want to explore your gift. So everything is a gift, even the tragedies that befall us. What's interesting, since the moon was not in the middle, it's very interesting what did come in. The fox. Now, I would say, think of the fox as the Eight of Pentacles, I would say. In tarot? Why do I say that? Because the Eight of Pentacles is a guy, and he's making pentacles. He's carving out the coins. He's working his craft. This is the card for expertise, and the only way that you achieve expertise is to work your craft. So what I did, Roger, in the early days, I had a full-time job, and I would come home from my job and I'd make a pot of coffee, and then I'd boot up my phone or my laptop, and I would go to one of the many forums that you'll find on social media, whether it's Facebook or if you're on TikTok, which I'm not on TikTok, but anyway, there's places you can go, Instagram, whatever, and I would offer readings. And people from all over the world, of course, everybody likes a free reading, right? Here you all are. People all over the world would hit me up for a reading, and I would type out the text of what I wanted to say that I saw in the reading. And I did it for free. And so I started out saying, oh, I'll do 5 readings. And then I would come back the next day having done the 5 readings, and there'd be 50 people in line, and then 500 people in line. And then people who were the greats in the card world started to private message me, and they would say, "We see your work. It's amazing. Keep going. You're terrific." And I thought, "Whoa, whoa, that's great. That's nice." I didn't do it to make money. I didn't even know people made money doing this, to tell you the truth. I did it for 2 reasons. One, I loved the cards. They gave me such, comfort and such in a dark time in my life when my husband had passed. And I wanted to show other people what was possible for them, not just for me reading their cards, but my hope was that they would wanna pick up a deck. That's why, and then I wrote a book because I thought, well, there were no books really out except for one when I first started this work. So I thought, well, let me write a book that I wish that I had had when I started this work. And so I love the art, I love the craft of it. And then I got a phone call from a metaphysical shop in my area, which was very well known. And they said, "Do you want a job working here?" And I said, what do you mean? Well, I work, I'm a teacher. And they said, "Well, you don't teach on the weekends, do you?" And I'm like, "No." So I started to work there on the weekends. It's the first time I got paid. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." Then I left that shop and I thought, well, what am I going to do now? Who's going to find me? Well, the internet then blew up and COVID blew up. So everybody was working in online. Nobody was going in a shop, right? And so my work expanded and I got asked to write the book. And so way leads on to way. So I think my bit of advice when it comes to this is don't go into exploring your gifts or wanting to exercise your gifts because you think it's a quick way to make a buck. I just feel like your gift will not grow in the way that it needs to if that's your approach. So find the tool that you love, and there are many, many tools. Look at runes. In fact, there's a YouTube video that I did with a rune expert uh, a long time ago, but if you search for it, you can find it. And and so maybe runes would be something that you're interested in. But once you find your tool, then work it like it's your job job, and you'll be amazed. So good luck with that. Um, uh, okay. Uh, I'm gonna do it's 6:11 and my voice already was gone. Now it's really gone. So I'm gonna pick, 2 more questions and then call it a day, okay? All right, okay, AG Baglin is asking, "My health." Did you ask a question before? I don't think so. Okay. "My health is not good. Um, will I lose my sight, my ability to drive before another condition unalives me?" Well, okay, we're just gonna look at your eyesight. So I'm gonna use the sun for your eyesight and just see whether you will lose your sight. If I'm freezing, somebody said I was freezing. I can't, again, I have 0 control over the tech piece of this. So just it is what it is. All right, 2 more questions. This is the first, and then I'll do another one. Looking for the sun, and that will stand for your eyesight that you're worried that you're gonna lose. Okay. So we have the scythe, we have the child, we have the sun, the cross, and the bouquet. So the fast answer, since we're so late in this session, is that I think there will be a surgery that gives you some eyesight or maintains some of your eyesight. Will it be sufficient to drive? Well, probably not. But will it be sufficient to so that it feels like a gift that you had this surgery for your eyes? Yes. So that's what I see there. Uh, okay, somebody asked me a when question. Lenormand, no divination system is good at when, and I'll tell you why. It's because we're dealing with 2 different types of time. You're asking me about time on the clock, time on the watch, time on the calendar. It's the kind of time that you and I live our lives by. But the cards are are giving me information from the other kind of time, which my mother would have called the fullness of time, that the Greeks call kairos. Kairos is the kind of time that encompasses the past, the present, the future, and every other kind of time that we can't conceive of. So it's not good at translating into chronological time. Um, I could tell you, you know, will you get it soon or will it be later? I can do that. I can see. The question is, will I receive the settlement of on my personal injury case? When will I receive the settlement? I can look and see, will it take a long time or a short time? That's the best I can do, and I think that'll be it. Um, we have the birds, we have the scales, and we have the clouds. So, this is something that some sort of committee looks like decides, and they take their sweet time weighing everything, weighing everything. So, if you're expecting it quick, fast, and in a hurry, that won't happen. So, patience. All right, everybody. I'm tired. I don't think people don't always realize that when you do this work, you're in between 2 worlds. And so, it's very tiring. I love doing it. I'm happy to do it for you. I'm grateful for your support of my work, and I thank you all for being here. But I also have to know when to say when, because that's part of being a good steward of my gift, right? So thank you all for coming. I will see you Tuesday on YouTube YouTube on Substack when I am writing again, and you can always find me on YouTube, and I'll be there tomorrow. So thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Take care. I hope this was helpful. Bye bye.